All right, start talking.
So, talking about people taking 12-year-old baseball too seriously. That's kind of what we were talking about just before now.
We're not going to introduce our guest.
I thought we were just going straight shoot shit.
All right,
All right.
go for
It's
it.
fine.
Go for it.
Okay.
Talking 12-year-old baseball. I can cut
Dude,
that
you
part
just
out.
go, like, you'll go to tournaments. Luckily, we have pretty good parents. Like
we have pretty good parents.
Sorry, no, you guys have. I'm sure you have great parents. But like the team I coach, we have really good parents. They're like relatively tame until like stuff starts going south. Like umpire starts messing up.
Not a lot of poise.
Not a lot of well, they have some poise. They, like compared to other teams we play, they have quite a bit of poise. Because like I will just leave some of these games just bewildered at how some of these opposing parents act. Right. And like the show they bring, like it's like when you roll up to a game and like a 12-year-old team is carrying like 17 kids, and the parents are like rolling up with like 3 like boom boxes for like their kids' walk-up songs.
Oh wow!
And like matching outfits and filling out their side of the stands, and like to the point where I can't even like talk to. They're so loud, to the point where I can't even talk. Like, where does your kid's career go from there?
Right.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, it kind of seems to me like you don't think it's gonna get much better than this. Like, you want to go all out here.
Like I couldn't imagine a Thirsty Thursday environment and at Lakewood, New Jersey, but you're 12, and then all of a sudden you go play in high school at your crappy, whatever size high school you go to, with nobody except for like 3 parents that could get off work in time to come watch your game. Like you're like, wow, this is lame. Like, well, I feel like you're setting the bar way too high for your kid.
My biggest thing that I've struggled with is like when coaching the kids is the parents that think their kid is so much better than they really are. Like that one bothers me more than like that stuff you're talking. Like that stuff, I agree with what you're saying, but the one that I struggle with the most is the parents that I've overheard conversations that I probably wasn't intended to hear. But I'm just like, oh no, that's not accurate. That's why this kid acts the way he acts, is because his mom or dad is telling him he's the greatest ever and he can barely even catch a baseball at 14 years old.
And I think that breeds a certain kind of person. It breeds that, well, I was good in high school guy, but then, got tennis elbow, so had to call it a career. And it's like, no, you didn't. Like, you just weren't good. Like
the guy you tell you're a professional baseball player to, and he goes, oh yeah, I used to play, growing up, and I was pretty good, but
But 12-year-old year at Little League came around, and then rolled my ankle on first base, and that was it. It's like, oh my god,
that's why.
What are we? What inner demons have you not addressed in your life to where that is what you're saying to a grown adult 30 years down the line?
Well, we were talking the other day about the idea of. I think it is mainly when you're an athlete. He brought up a good point that it is just without our society, but like when you bring up the fact that you're a professional athlete, like the person you're telling that has to feel like they can relate to you. So like they always go to, I played, this growing up or something. That's like, okay, I'm serious.
Yeah,
like I'm a professional athlete. You're like, oh yeah, no, I played a little soccer, or it doesn't even have to be the same sport. But it's always like I played this growing up. It's like, okay.
It would be really appreciated one time just to tell somebody like, hey, I play professional baseball, and they go like, oh, that's different than what I do.
Yeah. Like,
wow, that must be interesting.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
As opposed to somebody trying to link them together. It's
right. Yeah. I swung a bat when I was a kid once.
Yeah. It's kind of like them being like, hey, we were on the same path there at one point.
When we were 7.
It's like even then, I don't think we were.
No, I don't think we were. It just, but like, I don't know. It's such a strange. It is, and that's why I try to back pocket that conversation until the very last second. It's like I try to keep that under wraps as much as possible, unless I find an avenue. Like last night, I was at work and someone was wearing a minor league baseball hat, and I was like, "Oh, that's so and so," and they're like, "Yeah, how'd you know?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, I play, so I know a lot of like the minor league logos and a lot of minor league teams." It's like, he's like, "Oh, that's cool," and then it comes up in conversation. Right. Turns out he played in college at University of Pacific, so like, okay, but he never even claimed to tell nothing. He's like, played a little bit of college ball, wasn't good enough to get drafted.
Yeah.
That was
people,
it. I'm like, thank you.
Right.
Thank you for just keeping it real, man. Like,
well, the people that were like that actually get close understand.
yeah.
Those are the ones that are cool to talk to because they're like, oh yeah, I know. Like I played with people that went on and played, and I understand like how it's different than what I did.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, what level do you accept somebody's response being like, oh, same. Like if they just played in college, if they just played in high school, like is there a level where then you go like, okay, yeah, that was an appropriate response? Because I feel like college is a tough one.
Well,
That's kind of like the borderline.
it's super borderline. It's
Where
a
did you
super
play?
gray area. Yeah, because exactly that's always the thing. Is I played a little in college. It's like, where'd you play?
Right.
It's like, oh, I played at a Power 5 conference school. I'm like, oh, cool.
Or some people would be like, I played for the like the club team. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like
That's just them being disingenuous,
Right,
though. Like you
right.
did not play in college. It was a hobby at that point.
they were in college and they played baseball.
Right, but that's being disingenuous, and they know that, and that's where it's like, and that's where it's not cool. And
Right.
but then but it's like, oh, where'd you play? It's like I played at Mother
Call out a
Teresa
school.
Teresa's
call it-
University.
Call out a real school that
I'm trying to think of one like.
that has a bullshit.
But the
baseball
problem
program.
is, but the problem is, like, I don't know. There's so many like small D3 schools that actually are good.
Right.
So like, I don't know. Like you can't like really because I don't know. Oh, I played here, and it's like they could have won the D3 national championship every year.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know. But like that's where to me it's like if I don't recognize the college, I'm like, okay.
You're right. Playing a sport in college, no matter where the college is an impressive thing.
I was gonna say I don't really
don't think
care.
so?
I don't necessarily think so.
I'm sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say I don't really care what the level is as long as they understand where that level is in regards to where pro ball is, right?
Maintain some kind of perspective.
like I'll respect your high school career as long as you understand that you were 3 or 4 steps away
100.
from where
Right.
my career started. Like
Yeah, I really like your take on that. That's it's all about like that person's perspective. That's where the gray area comes
when
in.
when it becomes so I was just like you.
Yeah, that's
Now we
like,
now
and I'm trying to put my ego aside here and say like I'm a big like yeah man, same. Like I'm like I'm just gonna let him go on. This is not the arena to check this guy or let this guy know that his playing career was nowhere near somewhere.
That's the worst part is
Yeah.
is the second you try to explain it to him,
Yeah.
it's like you're the douche. Like,
Yeah, then you're the dicks. You just kind of have to be like, well, and that's the thing is I just try to be like supportive of whatever people's story is, I guess, because the bottom line is if like I don't know, we have a unique set of experiences, and you can't expect people to understand that, and some people go to age 60 and have never addressed certain things in their life that you as a almost 27-year-old, you guys 28, 29, it's like
30.
I've addressed. Are you 30?
I'm 30.
I'm not gonna let him go. Be like he's still in his 20s.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
And like and we've addressed these things. We've come to terms with some pretty hard things to come to term with. I mean, are you guys both done playing?
I'm still playing.
You're still playing.
I'm still playing.
I apologize because I had no idea. But like that's what I'm saying. Like, but you and I still playing battle with this thing. Like, are we like?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this? Am I
Right.
good enough? Am I wasting my time? Like, and then in your head you're like, no, like and you talk yourself out of it, which is good.
Right.
Bennett's done playing. He's come to terms with the fact, like,
I
hey,
didn't say I was done playing.
okay, well, I apologize. I apologize.
I'm just not playing anymore.
Okay,
It's
fair enough.
different.
Right.
But my point being, we've all had some tough pills to swallow in our professional baseball careers, and those are pills that a lot of people never put themselves in a
Some of
position
them are
to
literal
ever.
pills.
Yeah, some of them are literal pills. Ibuprofen, a lot of it. But some people never put themselves in a position to swallow those pills and deal with those things.
Yeah.
And like you could be 60 years old and have just gone to high school, gone to college, had the same job since you were 22, and you just work till retirement, and you just show up and do enough.
Right.
And you live your whole life doing that. And like a lot of the times the people who are telling you, oh, I used to play, blah, 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 are those people.
Right.
And you have to realize those people never had to come to terms with the reality of certain things and you're like, wow, okay, we're just there's just a different set of experiences that equips you differently. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah.
Really quick before we continue, I just want to say if you can try not to bang on the chair because it picks it. I don't want to ruin because you're saying some good stuff.
My animation.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a hands talker too. So
I got you. I'll hands talk and I will not touch the couch.
I didn't want to.
The percussion of this thing's pretty good.
Yeah, well, because I turned
Sturdy.
up, I turned up the gain a little bit to get the voice quality, but that means it picks up everything. I just didn't want to ruin what we had going.
Got it. Are you done?
I am done because I can cut all that part out, so no one's even gonna know that I instructed.
I kind of want you to leave it in.
Maybe I will. But so I wanted to get into what we were talking about, and then you talking about the experience of like being a free agent, like we were talking beforehand.
Yeah,
kind of get into that. I mean, he knows where he's going to play, like an indie ball. But one of the things that a lot of people don't understand with like indie ball is like you're still looking for other teams at the same time. We're not looking, but like are open to other opportunities as well. So you're still kind of a free agent.
Yeah.
While doing that. So
Absolutely.
both of you can. I mean, all three of us have been in it, but as of right now, both of you can talk about that experience of like being a free agent. And a lot of people don't understand, what that means.
Right. Where are you gonna play? Do you watch?
I'm planning on going to Milwaukee for the Milwaukee Milkmen.
Is that the
American?
It is American. Okay, cool. Yeah.
He played there last year.
Yeah, that's where
nice.
I was at. We were able to. Yeah, we won the COVID season. It was like a
mainly because of him.
6 team 60 game.
That's so fun.
Season.
Still though.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Winning the championship in anything is so fun.
Yeah. Especially where like everybody didn't know if we were even going to be able to play.
Yeah,
it was cool.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Dope.
Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, the free agent is so like the whole thing is so weird, especially if you're. I don't know how many people are in my position exactly going. I know people are, but I know it's a small number of people that went into their free agent year and then didn't get to play.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not alone in that. Like, go to spring training. Like, I think it's a year ago. Is today the 13th, the 12th? Yeah. A year. This is a year.
That calendar up.
This is a year ago today that spring training got banged.
Oh wow!
And I threw my last inning in an inter squad game today a year ago.
Wow.
Yeah, and then got sent home
with the Mets.
With the Mets, yeah, with the Mets org, and then didn't get to play all last year. Did my best to I was in Ohio with my girlfriend's family, and I found a facility out there to throw at, and velo spiked, which was good because my velo was not there in 2018, but I had nowhere to showcase it.
Yeah.
And legally bound to only talk to the Mets organization and keep them in the loop because I was being told hey, be ready. Hey, be ready. We're throwing your name into the alternate site. Be ready.
Such bullshit,
and I'm and I'm sitting here thinking is that real? Is that real? I don't know if that's real or not, but hey, stay ready. And so I'm every 5 days facing hitters out there. And then finally it's writing's on the wall. They just filled up the last 4 spots of the alternate site with 4 18, 19-year-old guys that just got drafted because they want to keep an eye on them. Totally get it. All good. Right. But I'm well, my season's over. So I shut it down all of August. Got back, watching playoff baseball, knowing that in a month, well, should I start talking to the Mets and see if they're looking to re-up my contract or if my contract rolls over? World Series comes around, nothing. And I'm well, okay. And they're hey, we'll stay in contact with you. We're definitely interested in signing all this stuff. And it's just been the same story ever since. Mm-hmm. And so I'm waiting, training, doing my thing, feeling great still. Velo's up like they asked me to be, like they asked it to be, all good stuff. And here we are in March and looking for, a fallback place to play. Yeah. To lock in a place to play by May. But still kind of hoping someone pitches me that spring training invite. Yeah. Right. It's and I'm sitting here okay, well, I got to pack up my apartment and move here in a couple weeks. And I got to stop working at the brewery I'm working at up in Orange County and figure out when I'm done coaching. But I don't know if I'm going anywhere to play yet. And it's just weird. It's such a weird in limbo feeling. Yeah. And now it's I'm gonna sign an independent ball contract with a potential opt out if I get that invite before April 1st, just to figure out where the hell I'm gonna go play. Yeah. And it's geez, man, what is this? And just with the COVID year off and no chance to showcase for any teams. Yeah.
Having the year off of your year going into free agency.
Yeah. How important is a How important is a big leaguer's free agency year or an NFL wide receiver's free agency year?
Yeah.
They go off, they're getting paid.
Right.
It's like I didn't even have a chance to try and extend my career because I didn't get to pitch last year, which sucks. But I'm not going to sit here and whine about it. But it just is what it is.
Yeah, you talk about that like in limbo feeling, and I feel like that's how I felt, and that's where I eventually got to. I'm like, I just don't even want this anymore. You know, like, and that's why that was kind of the main reason I decided to at least not play this year. I would imagine that means I'm done. That'd be obviously 2 years. I'm not willing to officially be like I'm retired from playing. Ideally, I'd like to go maybe play winter ball next year if that was an option. But yeah, it was just like I can't. I'm tired of the not knowing type of thing. You know, it's like. It kind of finally got to me. People being like, "Oh, like when are you leaving, or where are you going?" I'm like, "I don't know."
Yeah,
you know. And I was like, "I just want to know. I'd rather do nothing and be like, but I know I'm going to be here."
Yeah.
on this day.
I came to I was in a really dark place about 2 months ago for one day.
Let's talk about it.
When we were going to talk about it. Where, like I said, I'm working at this brewery up in Orange County, and I'm like in there pouring beers. Second shutdown comes around. We're only doing to-go stuff, so we need like less people in the tasting room. We have a high school kid that like holds the sign on the corner. I think you know where this is going now. He quits.
Yeah.
And me and this other dude who were like bartenders there.
Yeah. You're perfect for that job.
All of a sudden, the two of us are like out there on the corner holding the sign for like half of our shift.
Yeah.
And I had just like I was like. I needed to take a week off of throwing my I was like 86 to 88. Like I was not feeling good. My body was tired. My arm was sore. Just not recovering, not bouncing back. And I had just thrown a bullpen, and it was like topped 89. Like trying to throw hard. I was like, oh my god, what is going on? And then I had to go straight to holding the sign on the corner for 3 hours. And I'm just sitting here thinking like, I've got no place to play. I just sat 88 in a bullpen trying to throw hard. And I'm holding a sign on a corner. What am I doing with my life? If I just decided to call the baseball thing quits, I could do something so much more productive than this. But instead, I'm just trying to earn a minimum wage hourly just to afford the gym membership and help with rent and groceries with my girlfriend. And like, what am I doing with my life? And I'm like having an existential crisis. Like, what is happening right now? And but like, it's not really been different the last couple of years. The only difference is that I've had a place to go play in spring training, so I know, hey, I'm taking off. See ya.
Yeah.
Right. There's the security, like, and the peace of mind of like, this is one, like, I know where I'm going when I'm going there, and two, like, I know there's an exact direction that I want to head in. Right. When you're an affiliate ball, like, whether it works that way or not, you know exactly like, I'm gonna do well here, and then I'm gonna move to this level here, move to this level here, right?
Yeah.
When you're in that free agent, like indie ball, international, all of that thing, it's like I don't know what the next step is. Like I'm barely figuring out like, when am I gonna get out to here, and where do I want to go from there?
Right. Yeah. And like just you sit there and you think like, oh, did I throw my last pitch in 2019? Because I don't even really count that spring training inning. Like, again, I faced 4 hitters and they were all my own teammates. Yeah. And then it's like I haven't thrown a competitive pitch in a year and a half. Like in Binghamton, New York, in September, like September 2nd or 3rd. Yeah. And that's the last competitive pitch I've thrown. And I'm like, dang, did I throw my last pitch a year and a half ago and not even realize it?
Yeah.
Like I had no say in that.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Thinking back, like I'm like the last time I pitched was in Mexico. Yeah. And kind of end of the year, like I kind of got hurt, but was kind of dominating, and to think that like, I wouldn't have even realized that was the last time I was going to pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I kind of was always under the impression that I would be the guy that, like played one more season and was like, so I know that the last game this is the last time I'm going to pitch. And it'd be like an emotional, thing, not like looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't even realize that was going to be the last time I pitched.
Yeah. Shame on you for thinking something romantic would happen with your baseball career after everything we've learned.
You know what? You're right. It is shame on me.
Yeah,
I do know better, and I still fell for it. But one of the things I wanted to ask you is, can you talk a little bit about the mindset of a pitcher, assuming that we feel similarly about this? When you talked about throwing a bullpen and not throwing as hard as you want to, or just not being happy with the bullpen, and then going to obviously a job or situation you weren't happy with, would you admit that if that bullpen had gone really well, that like that would change your outlook then of like my whole view on day-to-day everything changes based on the success I have in just throwing. Like if I feel great, I'm just like yeah, I'll do whatever. And like if I throw a bad bullpen or something like that and I have a great thing to go to, I'm just in a bad mood.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
if you had set 95, 96 in that, you'd be like, dude, you know, I'll take both shifts. I'll hold the sign for both shifts.
Yeah, just strap the sign to my neck and I'll walk around the neighborhood. Like, I don't care. Like, just, I'll do whatever you want me to do.
I'm on my way to the show, dude.
Throw some handles on there and I'll throw that thing and catch it and get really good at doing like twirls and sign tricks and stuff.
But you throw a bad bullpen, they make you CEO of the company. You're like, I don't even want it.
I didn't want it. Yeah, I don't even want it. No, it's so true. Like, and I try not to ride that wave like high or low, but like, dude, I don't care what you say. Right. If you have like, it sends me into an immediate existential crisis. Like, what am I doing with my life? I'm about to be 27. I'm going on 10 years of doing this, and I'm still holding a sign on a corner at a brewery of a part-time job that I'm just trying to get to somewhat enjoy working while I make minimum wage to pay for things I have to pay for and train. Yeah. And so when you don't perform well, even in training, it becomes such a like internal battle.
Yeah.
But if you're like D-Wash said, like if you go and you sit 97 in a bullpen, like I'm only gonna be doing this for a couple of weeks more, and you guys can just break the sign and hand it back to him. Like, I don't need this.
It's real easy to be like, yeah, I'm just doing this to buy time before I'm a big leaguer.
Yeah,
because I just threw like a big leaguer.
Right. But then when you throw like
oh no, this is my job.
but then when you throw like a second-rate varsity high schooler, you're like, oh my god, like.
I need this job.
I need this job, dude. Like what? Oh, geez. Like, okay. Well, is anyone else hiring around here? Like, yeah.
You get that as a hitter. I feel like it'd be more difficult as a hitter. But like, if you have a bad round of cage work or something like that, does that change your whole view of the day? Or is as a hitter you kind of have to be a little bit more turn the page and move on to the next day?
Yeah, it kind of. I mean, I get the same feeling.
Okay.
Like I'll definitely.
It's got to be a roller coaster.
But it goes away.
Four times a day, every day.
Yeah, like I mean, like I like it'll be a long drive, right? And I'd say like by the time I get home, I'm good with it. Like it's whatever. But yeah, like when you're walking away from a cage session and it's you couldn't find the barrel on like a 70-mile-an-hour slider. Yeah. And you're just like, I don't see the season going well if it's like this, and like
season doesn't go well, career's over.
What is it like when you like, cause with hitters, how many times a week would you like opt for early work? None, 3 or 4 times a week.
Oh, I'm in the cage anytime we're not on the field. I'm a cage rat.
Right. Okay. So
I was gonna say that.
Yeah. So, like, what is that like for you when you go into a cage session? Will you stay in there until you find it? Or will you know you're going to take 15, 20 swings and be like, all right, this is what I got today?
Ideally, it's taking, 15, 20 swings or whatever. Or just enough to be like, this I can compete with this.
Yeah.
I try to pick and choose times because I've gotten better at being, considerate of everybody else. Like, so in the beginning part of the day, right, like you have everybody's trying to get their shit done. So you can't go in there like trying to find something, but I'll try to every now and then if I know I need to air it out, like I'll go in there when nobody's going to be in there and just let loose for 100 so swings.
Yeah.
But
things I just couldn't even imagine doing before going out and pitching. Like,
but you can do that with a bat.
Totally
you can't do that when you're throwing the ball.
But
when I was younger, I feel like I was a big chase it guy. Like I'm not until I get the perfect like pitch or whatnot. I'm not gonna stop type of thing. Yeah. And it took me kind of a while to be like, I can't. You can't do that.
No, you can't.
And it's one of the things like now we talk about like making that transition to coaching is one of the things I try to help because I see that I think that's very common with like younger athletes of what I see and I try to tell them like especially with pitchers be like okay but like last pitch or whatnot and it wasn't a perfect pitch like I'm gonna keep going until I get the perfect. I'm like no you can't. You can't do that. We're gonna
at some point like hitter and pitcher can both attest to this, especially when you get older and you realize you're gonna warm up for a game because you're gonna play so many games,
right?
Especially as a hitter, like at some point you got to be like at some point you can sit there and you can.
It's as good as it's gonna get.
It's as good as it's gonna get today. Like,
right.
Because you can sit there and nitpick and split hairs all you want,
Yeah.
But you have to realize you're a professional athlete, and in your being, you know how to do this.
Right.
And if it doesn't feel right now, who's to say at bat number 2 of the day or inning number 2 of the day, you're like right back on track.
Right.
And if you sit there and you like mull it over, like for, you know, you throw 50 pitches before the game, or you're in there taking 200 swings in the cage trying to find it, like, who's to say you're going to find it?
Right.
Like you could just be wasting your time.
You're just digging.
More often than not, you're just wasting your time.
Yeah.
Like at some point, you gotta like go sit in your locker with your face buried behind your clothes and just sit there and think like, okay, time to stop being such a mental midget about this and let's just go out there and do it. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
I think there's something too about like on the cage side. I don't know what it's like for pitchers, but like guys will sit in there and take, say, like 20 swings in a row, right, for a round. And it's like, that's not what happens in the game. And it's like you get this unrealistic feel of like what the hitting process is, because you think it's going to be find the perfect swing over the course of 15 minutes. And then you get in the game and you get 5 pitches.
Right.
And you're out and you're pissed off because you don't get a chance to go back and try it again.
Yeah.
Like for me, that I feel like that is like, that's where I get frustrated the most, getting on the bench after like a strikeout or a bad outcome, is it's like I want to get back out there and I can't. And it's like the better you get at, like you said, saying like one more and this is it. Like I'm capping it here. I don't care if it's, and getting used to dealing with the failure. If you're in the cage and you roll over the last one, well, that was it. Yeah. That's what you're going to face in the game, and you have to get better at dealing with that.
Right. Exactly. I mean, and I noticed this with like my 12-year-olds that I coach. Like I'll when I'm doing like front toss and someone's just not finding it, I'm like I'll give them a round of like 7 to 10, because like they'll eventually find it. But then when you give them like more than that, they start to lose it again.
Right. You'll
when you're like, oh, what did I do? I did too much. Now it's like I should have like so I get to the point now where I'm like, oh, the kid's struggling. He finds a barrel. I'm like, get out.
Yeah. Get out now.
Get out.
Yeah.
Get out. Yeah.
I
had one more. I know. I'm like, no, get out. Come back next round.
Yeah, I had one the other day with one of the high school pitchers where I was like, all right, one more fastball type of thing, and he threw it and it was a ball, and I was like, okay, good. The bullpen was good. It was just the last one, was a ball. I don't even know if it wasn't thrown well. And he was like, okay, let me do another one. I'm like, hey, sometimes your last pitch is not a good one. Right.
Trust me,
you give up a double. Well, I'm just saying, sometimes like your last pitch of your outing is not good.
Sometimes
maybe the lesson is, to cherish each pitch type of thing.
Yeah.
Where I was like, yeah, like he said, like you're creating an unrealistic expectation that you're always going to be able to end on the perfect pitch. You're never going to be like, okay, last batter, and then you walk him on a 3-2 count and be like, hold on, one more.
And then it dilutes dilutes the importance of
one
pitch
rep.
to pitch,
Right.
pitch to pitch.
Right.
Like, because you talked to Mills in the podcast a couple weeks ago, and he told a story about me going like 5 or 6 innings, ridiculously like low pitch count, shoving.
Right.
And my last pitch I threw that day traveled about 470 feet off of the building in left field in West Virginia.
Right.
And I found myself walking off the mound with a 4 spot, and I was like, "Wow, what in the hell just happened?"
Yeah,
I wish I could go back and have that one back, but you can't.
I was gonna give you a chance because I felt like Millsy called you out a little bit, so I was gonna give you a chance to respond to him.
There's no response. That's exactly what happened. I was bad that year. I had glimpses of being good, but I was so bad that year. Yeah. And the Toast Man, let me know about it.
The Toast Man in West Virginia.
Yeah.
Do you know the Toast Man in West Virginia?
I do not know the Toast Man of West Virginia. Can you tell me about the Toast Man of West Virginia?
Did you ever play in the Sally League?
No.
South Atlantic League? Okay.
You think the people are ready for the Toast Man of West Virginia? You think they're ready for that story?
I don't care. I don't care if they're ready or not, because I don't think we were necessarily ready when.
All right, you give me your interpretation of who the Toast Man is.
The Toast Man is a super fan who at one point I believe was the mayor of Charleston, West Virginia, who goes to every single West Virginia Power game with a toaster oven and a sleeve of bread, and while the game is going on, he will cook toast.
He cooks the toast?
In the stands. And he's got like his like posse, his cronies around. And they'll have a dialogue back and forth, like, hey, I forget his name, but like, hey, Jerry, what's this guy's deal? He goes, oh, I'm glad you asked. And he'll pull out a binder or like a spiral notebook of notes of everyone. Yeah. It's like, oh, did you know that Luke Rennie was in the South Atlantic League with the Baltimore Orioles in 2013? And here we are in 2018, and he's still here. And Oh, what was his ERA that year, you ask? Oh, he posted a 6.48 ERA. That's pretty bad, huh, folks? And like, it's just starkly silent, minus him talking, and all the people are like, "Oh, that is really bad, Jerry." Yeah. And then someone strikes out. He pulls the burning toast out of the toaster oven and will say that person's name and say, "You are toast. You are toast. Yeah. You are toast." And then everyone starts chanting. He'll toss the toast out to the people in the stands. Wow. And after tossing the toast out to the people in the stands, he'll say, "Don't eat the toast. You don't know where it's been." Yeah. And it's just constant.
Right. Yeah. So one of the things...
Wow. Do they pay him for this?
I don't think so.
One of the things I'll add on to is when you talked about, the heckling. Yeah. That I want to drive home. This isn't your standard fan heckling you. He does his research on you. Right. Like, I think one of the things to me was like, he's a Poway High School alumni who only pitched 4 innings his senior year. Like, what happened to him? I'm like, oh my god, does, like, he goes into it with like everyone. And so, it's pretty ruthless.
Okay, so how do you guys feel? Because I don't think I've ran into anything that extreme or that like thought out. But I have run into like these super fans, these I don't know if you call them super hecklers, but these people that have like they clearly do this all the time, and I wonder like what is your guys' thoughts about those people versus the drunk old man that's just you suck.
I love him.
Yeah, I think it's definitely. I think you'd have to say it's a part of what minor league baseball is.
Right.
Like you do need. And my advice to any up and comer that's going to go pro, maybe listening to this, is the only thing you can't do is you can't like get mad at it. Like you can't, like, you just kind of have to laugh at it.
Right.
I would always just come back to I'm on this side of the fence. Like. Not that I'm better than you type of thing, but yeah, you can't let some old dude who's tossing toast around in a minor league game affect you. At some point you gotta like, this guy's kind of funny and, he's just kind of a joke,
right.
And but the guys that would get like mad or if you fire back at him, like, no, fuck you, man. It's like, done. Oh, it's over.
Yeah, well, because then he's got you. Then he knows he's swimming in your dome. Like he knows he's got you. Yeah. And like, that's the thing is like, you have to be someone on top of the mountain for someone to throw stones up at you, right. And you have to realize you are putting yourself in a position where people are going to put you under a microscope. But you got to realize like it's all fun and games. And if you like ever charted behind home plate like as a starting pitcher, like I know Bennett had to, if you ever talk to the guy, super nice.
So that's what I was gonna say is that him specifically, the Toastman, a lot of times he would wait by the visitor's bus after the game and be like, super nice. I mean, ask for like autographs and whatnot. I would like to get your take on that because that was the only one where I was like, I don't know how I feel about the role reversal then when the game's over. I'd kind of like rather you just stay as a Toast. But then like after like asking us for like autographs or like trying to like take pictures, I'm like, I don't know about that. You think I'm being too sensitive about that?
I think so I have, because I struggle with hecklers in general, and I'll get to that in a second. But I think there is a big distinction between like the super fan that shows up every day and like he puts work into it, right? Like whether you appreciate it or not. A lot of work, and he does his research. He clearly appreciates the game, and this is just how he wants to be a part of it. So like, on that end, I could kind of feel like maybe if I had like a golden sombrero, I might kind of, say, not today. Appreciate you, love everything you do, but not in this exact moment. And those are the words I would use. But
I don't know if I believe you.
But I think but I think like deep down, like I would hope that I would appreciate that this is like somebody who cares about the game. And to me that is like a lot different than, like I said, like this like just a random person that just like thinks it's funny to just like kind of poke it, the random guy. But the way I kind of look at it, because I get the like person on the mountain like throwing stones and all that, but I struggle with it. I realize because like I'm super competitive, right? Like I want to beat everybody all the time. And I think where I get in trouble is you want to compete with these people, like you said, and you can't win.
Yeah.
Because they're not competing in the same arena that you're competing in. Like there's nothing you can do on the field that is going to affect what they do.
Right. That's a very good point. It is a losing battle.
It's a losing battle.
And you just need to let them take their shots.
Right.
Because also a win for them is just playing the game, essentially. And they just can get you to come back. It's like now it doesn't even matter what this encounter is. It's like they've already won.
Yes.
They're throwing soft jabs. They might hurt every now and then, but he's never going to knock you out. There's no winning. Like,
right.
It's like you just have to realize like he's going to take his shots. And honestly,
I think you have to understand the source.
Yeah.
Too. I think that was kind of my whole thing is that everyone doing this right now wishes they were here in my spot right now. There's a reason why they're on that side and I'm on this side.
Yeah.
So so that's where you see it, at a higher level when like, the Charles Barkleys or whatnot when they're giving and they're kind of like getting on players where that kind of can piss players off a little bit because like, we're somewhat of an equal and he's a peer and if an ex-big leaguer was like talking shit to me, I'd be like, oh, I looked up to this person, like that kind of stuff. So some toast man in West Virginia not liking the way I pitch.
Shout out Toast Man, big love.
Yeah. And but you know what I'm saying? It's like, or he's an example. But anywhere you go where someone's heckling you, and it's like, you couldn't do what I do.
No.
So I don't want it to come off as like cocky, but that's where I tell people like think of the source. It's like same thing, any type of celebrity or anybody where like, someone will comment on their videos and leave like mean comments like this person's like in their basement, like think about who's talking shit to you right now.
Yeah. Have you guys ever seen like a great response to like from a player to a heckler in the middle of a game?
Yeah, I've seen some probably.
I was playing.
But I still go the heckler won because you came back at him.
Yeah, I know. But there was one experience I've had where I was playing in Evansville, Indiana. I had this teammate who I think it was his first at bat. And it was an Evansville fan, a season ticket holder. And just, oh, come on. How are you missing that? Hit the ball. Just ridiculously like rudimentary comments. Just so like you're a Neanderthal. Like the comments they're not even clever. And this kid literally like strikes out swinging. Takes his helmet off, undoes his batting gloves, takes his bat, sets it on the ground, and says, "Here, you can come do it." Right. And it's dead silent, and just leaves it by the on-deck batter's box.
That is funny.
That person never heckled again.
Really? That stopped him?
Again.
Come on.
That's really interesting to me.
Again.
Wow.
It was
That's a weak heckler.
It was weak. I couldn't believe it. I was losing it because I thought the way he did it, he sold it so well. They're like, took it off, calm, helmet down. You can come do it.
Yeah, see,
and I was like, wow.
That's interesting to me because I got that being hilarious. And if I'm the dugout, I'm laughing. But I'd be like, oh, yeah, heckler wins that one. Like,
I think
he
so
got
too.
the reaction.
Right.
So the fact that he took that as like, okay, I won't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. That's a weak heckler.
Yeah, I agree. It was wild, but yeah, it was pretty funny.
Well, there's a chance that, like you said, you might go and play in West Virginia this year.
Yeah.
So you might see the toast.
If that's the case, and I do go play independent ball in the Atlantic League,
right,
and I go back to West Virginia, I actually I guess I did have someone inquire about me from that team. So there's also the side of what if I went and played for West Virginia, and all of a sudden the toast man was on my side? Like, would he still poke fun of me? Like, I would want him to. I would want him to be like, "This is crazy that you're here right now."
Right. See, he would love the fact that if people were thinking of like I should go play so I don't get heckled. Yeah, him. He's like, I have that much of an impact on these people.
Right.
But also, like, if I do go back and I do go to West Virginia and play, like, that will be parts of 2013, 2014, 2018, and 2021 that I will have played in that stadium with that guy. That guy will have been a part of 7 years of my baseball career and my life.
Yeah. And of his, like that, like, I mean, how many people do you think he's had that kind of relationship with? Where where he's seen them like this far apart.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's so weird. The word relationship that you just used, like, totally put that in a different like frame of mind for me. I was like, oh my god, this guy is like a part of my DNA now. Like, it's so strange. Like, I'll never forget that guy, and that guy probably won't forget me. He'll see my name and be like, oh yeah, especially because he does his homework on people. Like, oh my gosh, that'd be wild. But
it would be wild.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so funny, like, you sitting here and talking, just like how many like memories and stories start like running through my head when we were with the Orioles.
Yeah.
I think that's my favorite part of when we're talking with like these people is just like how many like it all comes like rushing back.
You mean like with Mills and like guys
Millsy,
like that? Yeah.
I mean,
or any of your guys'
had,
friends that you talk
to. It's not
to.
even like anybody we've had that's been a player where we start talking like that. Even if I haven't played with them, they all start like those experiences just start coming back.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I don't know. I think ultimately it's like my favorite part of this and like looking back on the Myers like those experiences. Like like. Even telling the story like it is, there's probably gonna be plenty of people like, I don't understand what the problem with the toast man is. Like, yeah, you kind of had to be there, you know?
Yeah.
You know, even David might be being like, oh, okay, whatever. It's like, and then you strike out and you're throwing toast around and you're like, oh, okay, this is.
And you can smell the burning bread.
It's not even that you have to be there, right? Because I'm not there, but when you describe it to me, like I know what playing baseball feels like, and I know what like seeing people do stuff in the fan or in the stands feels like, and I'm like, oh yeah, that'd be brutal.
Yeah. Were you with Baltimore for a short period of time? Do you wash ever?
Yeah, in 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, that's who we made it up with.
That's what I thought. I thought you made it up with them.
I know you weren't going to say that, so I had to say it for you.
Okay, thank you.
I meant to ask you that before the podcast to clarify because I was like, I'm pretty sure you made it up with them. But we've all had the privilege of. Well, I should say you and I have both had the privilege of living with Bennett, and he's had the privilege of living with both of us.
Oh, I live with myself.
Yeah, that's true.
That's my biggest struggle.
But
every damn day,
I feel no idea what it's like to be me.
Yeah.
You and I have had some interesting living experiences with Baltimore. Whether it was in the hotel together, whether it was with. Yep. Our first host family in Delmarva. Joyce and Gil and Joyce.
You know their names.
Yeah. And Chumley, the dog.
Chumley, the dog.
Honestly, I hope they hear this. Yeah. I'm not on here. I'm very tame about like talking about people and things on like anywhere anybody can get a hold of it.
I hope they hear this.
But I hope they hear this.
Gil and Joyce.
Was that not the most ridiculous?
Yeah.
Give me your take. Give me your take on this, because I don't know if D-Wash knows this story or not. But we talk about this almost every time we hang out.
The only person that knows is probably like my mom. Like I don't talk about this time. It was a traumatic time.
And Mark Ralston.
That's true.
Shout out Mark Ralston.
We should probably give a little bit of a background before I give my take.
Well, you can't just say a family of names and then just be like, okay, we're going to talk.
Anyway, moving on to the next story.
That's what I'm saying. So okay, you want me to do it?
I want you to do it because I love your ability to tell stories.
Okay.
I think I'm okay at it, but like, there's nothing like hearing a Bennett Perry story.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'll try my best. Now,
if you want me to jump in, at any time, I can do my best.
Well, this is my memory of it. And this is a little bit of a ways ago, so this is my memory of it.
I'll let you know how I remember it too if I see.
So first, to say this was a host family, and for people that don't know, obviously, minor league baseball players during the season or indie ball, a lot of times they're staying with host families. So it's a family. A lot of times, it's a fan of the team, or they want to help people out. A lot of times, you can get good situations, you can get bad situations, So this particular host family, named Gil and Joyce, I can't remember her last name.
I can't remember either.
Dunn.
Well, there you go. That's the last name. If anyone wants to look them up on social media, please be nice to them.
Yeah, so they were like, this was in Delmarva, for the Delmarva Shorebirds. They were super fans.
He was the president of the fan club.
Gil was high up with the Shorebirds. So they took us
high
in.
Up with the Shorebirds. Get out of here, dude.
He was deep in the mob. So me and Luke were both staying with the Dunns. That was our host family. And I will say, all in all, while we were staying there, it wasn't a bad experience.
No.
I enjoyed it. They were a little bit on the side of like Lucas said, maybe was not doing as good as he would have liked that year, type of thing. So like when sometimes he would, they'd be that host family when he'd come back, or either of us would come back and not have a great outing or something like that. Gil would be sitting in his chair when you entered, like talk about the game with you, type of thing. Like, I thought, like, why is he going to go slider there? And then he went slider there, and then he hit, that's exactly like what I thought would happen, type of thing. Like, that was what the host family experience was like. But really, other than that, not terrible.
No, it wasn't bad. It wasn't the one gripe I really had about living there was that
Chumley.
The dog did not like me.
Chumley hated Luke.
And
Chumley
I don't know why.
attacked Luke a couple times.
Yeah, he drew blood multiple times, twice.
Yeah.
Drew blood twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta think.
And this is the family that we're living with. Like, and I have to walk downstairs like afraid.
Right.
And I love dogs. Like I love
upstairs.
dogs.
You're
Upstairs. I lived in Bennett lived in a bedroom. Our Greg Schwartzkopf, our trainer, lived across the hall in another bedroom. But that was just our trainer at that point. And he lived there too. Yeah. And I was in the other room with like a pull-out chair that was like my bed with a TV, but it was also like their memorabilia room. So like it was like a smaller space, plenty of space for me. Had no issues with that. But like every time I would leave to go downstairs, they had to like either kennel the dog or like have a hold of it by the collar, or else it would go nuts.
Wow.
Dog had no problem with me.
And it would come at me. And I love dogs.
Yeah.
And I love dogs. And so I'm like, I've never met a dog that I did not want anything to do with.
Right.
And that was to this day the only dog.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was Luke's experience. For some reason the dog had no problem with me.
No idea
I don't
why.
understand why. But yeah, so that was. But other than that, like the experience while we were living there was fine.
Yeah,
it was good.
Agreed. Absolutely.
Good to fine.
I agree with you.
And
Absolutely.
so fast forwarding a little bit, we get to the end. Oh, so another thing I should add to the story is at one point my mother had come out to, visit type of thing, and as my mother does because she's a very sweet and warm person, became friends with these people. So like they were in somewhat of contact or followed each other on whatever. So fast forwarding to the end of the year. Normal get to the end of the year. We were both, I think, we were both going to New York after the end of the year. So you were driving me there to see my sister.
Because you were going to go see your sister.
Right. So So we were leaving together and we left and it was cordial and we said goodbye and thank you and all that kind of stuff and thought that was the end of our experience with Gil and Joyce. So we get to New York and my mom had flown out to meet me and my sister in New York. And I see my mom and she has this look on her face like, I'm like, what is wrong? She's like, I need to talk to you. And I was like, okay, what's up? Like, you're scaring me. She's like, I need to show you this. And it was a post that Joyce had posted on some Shorebirds forum, some Baltimore Orioles forum.
It was on Facebook.
Was it on Facebook or was it on the forum?
It was on Facebook.
Okay, so it started on Facebook then. And it was basically this long post of just trashing me and Luke.
Wow.
Of being like the most ungrateful, like I don't think we can be host families anymore. These are the most ungrateful guys I've ever. And like the way we had left it was like very nice, like hugged everything. And I was like, oh my god. So it kept reading, and it was like they're the dirtiest people. They left it in such a mess. And my mom was like, well, I think I've raised you better. That if you're gonna leave, I was like, I cleaned that place. First of all, it's one of those situations where everything that was in there was my possessions that I was taking with me. So if I left anything, but I didn't leave anything behind. So there's no way it could have been messy. Like I have everything with me, like.
Yeah. And the room I was in was already cluttered.
Right.
So I just took all of my things out of there and like reorganized any of the things that were in there to make them look presentable.
Wow.
Right.
Like I know we are on the same page with saying we made a point to clean the bathroom as well. Like, we made a point to
We
clean.
cleaned everything.
We cleaned everything.
You know what's insane about that? Just cut in is like I have been an absolute tornado everywhere I have gone.
Right.
Everywhere I've gone, leaving things behind, leaving a mess. I'm a nice person. I'm respectful of people, but I'm just not the cleanest. And I've never received a complaint. And I find that interesting that you two who are such clean people.
Yeah.
It
was but my mom, was kind of on the side of, this person's not going to do this unless there's a valid reason. So my mom reached out to her and was like, hey, Joy, I know Bennett, obviously. I'm surprised to hear that this is, and I know Luke too, I'm just surprised that was their experience, or that was your experience with them. Like, what are you talking about? She came back, I guess, kind of fired, like they left it in a mess. Or what? And my mom's like, can you send me some pictures or something so I can see this? Yeah. And so Joyce and so what it was is under the bed, like in the very back corner. Apparently, I still don't even know if it was my sock or there just was, because I still had all my socks, but it was like one sock in the back corner under the bed.
A sock, dude.
And they had lent us some movies to take on the bus that I had left on the chair in a stack for them because I didn't want to steal their possessions. Yeah. And because I had left it on the chair, that was the mess. the stat, and like she sent the pictures, and my mom was like, no, but like what else? Like this is, and my mom, love her to death. She's gonna be very happy. She's getting a shout out to her, but is extremely clean. So she's got a very high, standard for clean. And even my mom was like, Joyce, I mean, are we serious? Like, even if you had a problem, like this was enough to post and bash these guys like over, and so they kind of went back and forth. Basically, kind of fast forward a little bit too off of that, it had caught steam because these were super fans on this Baltimore Orioles forum that had started trashing me and Luke based on the fact that we had trashed the
quote unquote trashed.
Yeah. Right.
And I'm not one of those people that wants to look up and read what people are saying about me, but I'm not gonna lie, I started like following it because I was like, this is ridiculous, and people like these guys should be released. Like call leaving numbers of call Dan Duquette, the GM, call Brian Grunman, and like tell him. And so I ended up I'm like, you guys, like, are you seriously, like, this is having now an impact on our career, and it turned into this huge thing. Over to this day, we still don't really understand why. And apparently, it was because there was a sock under the bed, which I still stand by. I had all pairs to my socks, so I don't think it was mine. Because also being a host, they have plenty of people that stay in there. So I'm like, that could have been anybody's sock. It was like under the bed, like the pictures. My mom was like, "Room looks great," like, But anyway, so then going forward a little bit off of that. Me and Luke find out the next year in spring training that we're going back to Delmarva.
Yeah.
And so most of the time, if you're going to repeat a level, you're going to stay at the same host family. Obviously, we were not going to stay there again. But so we drive up together, and I don't remember where we ended up staying that year.
We ended up staying with... I stayed with the Luters,
that's right.
Colleen and Brian and Zane.
They were like next
and
door.
then we were like the neighbors. And I forget the name of your
me
family,
too.
but they were all super nice.
But anyway, so we had an encounter then because Gil would always just come into the clubhouse, which that's a separate issue.
Yeah. We may or may not get to that, but separate issue.
So then we had this encounter where we were there, and like Gil came up to us and was like, or he came up to Luke and he's like, why
I'm just gonna say it because it's part of the story, dude. He would come into the clubhouse when we were all like naked, like changing, going to the shower, stuff like that.
Could be a coincidence.
I'm not making any claims about anything. Just know that like that's totally inappropriate. You're not part of the team. You're just whatever.
Right.
Comes up to me because he didn't come up to you.
No,
came up to me and like attempted to apologize on behalf of his wife and the post and them while I'm naked. My towel's like over my shoulder, and I'm like, take my shoulder off, wrap around, and I go, listen, dude.
Well, didn't you say he started with like, you know why we had to do it?
Yeah. He comes at me and goes, well, you know why we had to say what we had to say, and I go, and I'm literally like, no, I don't know why you had to say what you had to say. There was no basis to do that, and he's like, well, she just puts a lot into it, and I'm like, no, absolutely not, like. Absolutely not. Like, there's no way that is something there's no way.
There's also had the type of relationship where if there was really that much of a problem, send me a mess or like talk to me about it. Type of thing. Like let's say hypothetically we did not leave it in a great spot. Like I still will stand by like we had each other's numbers. We were in contact. Like, you could have easily called me and be like, hey Bennett, like I hate to be this person. I know, but like I was really upset with the way. Like it was left, and then I'd be like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." Like and like talk like and maybe they didn't know it was going to have the impact that it ended up having. But like I was like, yeah, like I kind of think like it was brought up to me like in spring training the next year by either Brian Graham or somebody. Like, hey,
somebody said it. So you told me that. Like, you said someone brought up the Gil and Joyce thing, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So that's Gil and Joyce.
Yeah, and he ended up ended the conversation with like, well, if you end up needing a place to stay and we have an extra room, I go like saying like if it's your last resort and we have space, and I'm like, I literally said like I don't care what my situation is, I'm not staying with you. Yeah. And
it
that was the end of
career.
it. And that was the end of it. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me right now. That is
I think maybe
bonkers.
the reason he didn't come up to me is because like I had
a fear for his life thing.
No, but I think it was more because I had been the one that had like messaged them afterwards, and not gonna lie. It had gotten to a point where we obviously didn't have the nicest things to say to each other.
Fair enough.
So because like you hadn't, I think it was more because he hadn't talked to you. Or like I'd at least had some interaction with him afterwards, where I think he knew exactly where I stood. On the matter. But yeah, so that was probably the worst host family experience.
Yeah, that's brutal.
That I've had.
Did you have host families when you were coming up, or were you with an org that made you like do your own housing all the way up?
No, we short season ball. We had host families.
Okay.
So I had 3 host family situations.
Okay.
Yeah. And I had one rough one sandwiched between 2 amazing ones.
Okay.
So overall, I had really good host family. Like my first one was like the Blackmores, Phil and Nona.
Okay.
Just a lovely couple of people.
Where at?
And this is Johnson City, Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
And like, yeah, they were. They just had we had like a basement set up. They like had like a pool table, that whole thing. Left us alone, cooked us dinner after. Just couldn't be. They would come out when they came out to spring training. They would get all the people that they hosted and like take them out to like Cheesecake Factory. Just amazing people.
Yeah.
And then I had one in Batavia where they were just trying to see how many people they could fit in their basement, and see if they could turn a profit off of it. It was pretty brutal.
That's wild.
But yeah, host family day, it's wild because it's like it's such a big deal as far as like, you know, like how you live away from the field has such a big impact on going to the field.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah.
Big time. Like, and I think I mean, and I've had nothing but amazing experiences with host families, minus that one rocky experience.
Yeah.
But nothing, and even that
I mean,
at the
that
time
experience
didn't even
wasn't
seem. It
after
wasn't even
the
until
fact.
after we left.
Yeah.
I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
And then it left a bad taste in my mouth. But dude, a lot of times it attracts a certain kind of person who's willing to be a host, be a host family, and usually they're pretty great people.
Right.
Like my host family in Evansville is like my second family. Like I was there for 2.5 seasons, and I talk to them regularly. I still talk to them regularly. Like they're just fantastic people.
It's an extremely high ceiling, low floor bag of people. I feel like that because there's never just a right. They're either like amazing or it's just kind of like, you know, I don't know if I'm survive.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you think about the idea of allowing someone to stay in your home rent free. Like it's a nice thing to do. So like,
there's the ones that charge rent and stuff.
Okay, I've never come across that.
Yeah, the one we had was like, it was, you know, throw us like $100, something like that. That was the one that was like
one?
that was
I was gonna say I would think
Yeah,
there's a
it's
correlation.
not even,
So
it's
there
not
you
even a
get- then
host
you-
situation. It's a tenant. It's a tenant landlord situation.
that's basically what they were doing, but they were calling it host families.
Yeah, so then I would say that's not surprising that they were the bad ones.
And then you would
Where I'm saying the idea of allowing someone to stay in your home, which is how I think most of them, at least all my experience was like, that's an extremely nice thing,
Right.
you know. And some of them, because they're super fans, part of it is they want to be around the baseball players, and that leads to sometimes conversations that we talked about like earlier, like you don't necessarily want to have, especially right after a game. They didn't have the best feel all the time, but like extremely nice for allowing me to stay here, and couldn't be more appreciative of that. And the worst experience was one where the living situation, mine was a little better. I had like my own room type of thing, but like it was nice. It wasn't until after the fact that it almost ruined our careers.
Yeah, I was like, what? It was so strange.
Yeah.
What was your process for? Because I know Bennett's, but like because we had the similar one when we were doing the host family thing with the Orioles. But like, did they give you like a packet of families and like you had to pick for like?
I think the families chose the players.
Really?
Oh my god!
I want to say. I don't know. I feel like
really.
Well, no,
really.
Well, maybe it was because the two okay. So in State College was amazing, and in Johnson City was amazing. So I feel like those host families had built a reputation, and then it was kind of like they make sure they get the people that they want.
Yeah, that makes sense. Evansville, it was like a selection thing. Like somebody was put in charge of like making like attempting to fit people in good situations.
Right.
I got that situation being problematic.
Yeah.
Right off the bat. Maybe I'm immature, but right off the bat, my head went to like a situation like Get Out.
Yeah.
Like a psychological. Your baseball season turns into a psychological thriller.
I want that one. You know, it's like okay, well, let's see if he wants to live there. I don't care if he wants to live there.
Just like every time you tell stories like this, you stop and think like, how bananas is this?
Right.
Like these are grown men.
Yeah.
These are grown men dealing with these certain things. Like on the way up to our second year in Delmarva, there was like 2 families, and one of them was our previous host family. So we literally had to call people from like we got phone numbers from people who were there the year before of friends of old host families who weren't doing it anymore that we had to call and ask if they were willing to host us. And they're like, well, where are you guys? And we're on the way to Maryland right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
And because the way it worked is that if you were repeating, like you automatically were going to stay with the same host family.
Yeah.
So the Orioles like, oh yeah, you stay with the Duns. I'm like, we can't stay.
But we literally had to find our host family situation on the way up to Delmarva. Like we locked it in Virginia. We talked to both of them on the phone and locked in like a visit to meet them, and like after they agreed to have us come check the place out and hadn't like agreed to let us stay there yet. And we were 4 hours from where we were going to be. And we finally got there, went and visited them. They were like, yeah, so anyway, we moved a dresser into this room and yeah, anyway, if you want to, we would love you can totally stay here. Like, we'd love to have you. And I'm like, oh, like great. And then like still knowing I had to drive Bennett over to his place to meet the family he could potentially be staying with, but potentially not if they're like not into it. Like we just don't even know. Like,
so I remember about that situation, and I feel bad I can't remember my host family's name. But
I know, I'm trying to
wonderful
think too.
host family.
Yeah, they were super nice.
But I will say I do remember specifically going with you to meet your host family and being like, this is the best host family setup.
It was great.
like I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, family could have been nice. It just like it was, and it was a little bit of like, oh man, I wish I had this one.
But you ended up having your own room. Like you said, your other one was good. But like,
I had like the top. I had like the whole.
I did have
four.
a great host family, the Lutners. They're awesome. They were so nice.
Yeah.
They were so great. But dude, just like,
you know what else I remember about those times is I don't think you were 21 yet.
I was not 21.
And you were using because I had gotten a new ID.
Oh my gosh,
and you were using my old ID as a fake ID.
It looked nothing like me.
No, but see, me at 15 did look similar to you at 19, 20 years old.
Yeah, minus like the long curlier hair and me having a buzz cut. And like,
but see, it was more like
we were the same height.
Well, because at that time, I think on my ID, I was like 6'3", 180.
Yeah, and I was like 6'2". I was like 6'2", 2 bills, 205.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But it's like, oh, this could, he grew up, but like this could be him at 15.
That thing served me well.
Right.
I didn't lose that thing until 3 weeks before my 21st birthday.
Yeah, I'm saying when we would go out, it was never a problem.
Never a problem. Yeah.
And we would have fun.
Yeah, we would.
I was never a fake ID guy.
Yeah,
I was always
no
just
one wants
like,
to have to be.
no, right? I was just always the like showing my non-21 ID and see if they would just.
I love that because some places just get the ID, glance, there you go. Like they're not even looking for the date; they're just like check and go. You look
well,
like
I think the place in the Hooters in Johnson City was like was the place for where all the ball players went, and like I think like there was just somewhat of an understanding. Like I don't want to. I mean, I'm probably calling them out. I hope this doesn't like. I don't know what the statute of limitations is on this.
I think you guys think this podcast has more reach than it really does.
No, but like, yeah. So it was.
But if it does gain some reach,
so it was just like yeah, like have a beer.
Yeah,
you know, like you're gonna be in here all the time. Like you know,
the Green Turtle in Aberdeen. Yeah, I could go there.
Yeah,
you just get to know the people there.
Yeah,
it ends up being like a cool place. You can go have a beer after your game and chill and hang out.
There were some liquor stores that I feel like would be known for what they would say. It's like, so you have to show me your ID.
Yeah.
The camera needs to see that you showed me something and I looked at it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't care like what it is, but like
show
me you can show me a library card, probably care, but just like, show me something.
It was always funny when it didn't work. Because they're like, like I remember distinctly, like
probably like second guessing themselves, like, wait, am I off here?
Right? No, because I was
you must have handed me the wrong one. You want to try again? You're like, nope, that's it.
Yeah, like because like we both know, right? All it is just a test of like whether you're gonna let me. Yeah. But I know the rules. You don't have to tell me the rules. But they have to tell you to let you know that it's not going to happen. Yeah, so like, you have to be 21 to be. To come
and you're like, oh,
and you're like, oh,
no idea.
What I would have loved is
for
you to double down and just like keep like, yeah, I am. You know, like keep making it seem to them.
Or just been like, no, I don't.
Like look behind the sign that says the date. Like, no, you're
21.
not.
They just changed it to 20.
You gotta be 21.
Jedi mind trick them.
No, you tripping, man. You tripping.
No, I don't. You have to be 21. You're right. You're right. Come on in.
Do you remember, and we can cut this story if you don't want the story to get in now, but do you remember the time in Greensboro where...
I remember the time in
Can I tell the story? Is this going to be a problem if your girlfriend listens to this?
Yeah, I mean, like, just use your discretion.
Okay.
Use user's discretion.
I'm not going to go into... I'm just saying, the only reason I'm bringing it up is because it was funny where it was a situation where...
I didn't want to go anywhere.
Right. So I had met this girl, or this girl had come up to me, like, during the game. Basically, long story short, we were going to meet up, like, for a drink after the game.
Yeah.
And she had a friend. And these girls were probably, I think, like, in their 30s or whatnot. They were like, older.
Yeah.
They were older women. And she was like, yeah, like, bring a friend. And I was like, all right, Luke. And Luke was 19 at the time. Yeah.
He was 19.
So, yeah, again, it was probably stupid because I'm not going to go too much into the story, but the idea of you, I remember having to like try to get you into the bar, so we could like hang out, and you were pretending to be, you know, this.
We had to go in like different times. You had to go in first because you were actually Bennett Perry,
and
I was using
ID.
your fake ID,
right.
Bennett Perry,
right.
So you had to go in.
Yeah.
And I had to walk in like 10 minutes later.
Right.
So the bouncer had like seen enough names where he's not going to, if he is looking that closely,
right.
he's not going to be like, you're also Bennett Perry.
Right.
The secret agent shit that like minor leaguers do to get alcohol, dude, is fucking hilarious.
Well, see,
just to blow off some steam, like a game 87 of the year, just to go and hang out with your boys for a couple hours after the game.
This one was just funny to me. I remember like at one point looking and, you know, just being like, the idea of this guy who I'm obviously very close with being 19 years old has gotten in, and it was like a bar where everyone was a little bit older. Like I was kind of young for like this scene and like the people we're hanging out with, and I was like, they all thought he was, you know, 23, I think, or something like that, and it just being like, it was one of those where I was like the obstacles that we went through to like get in this situation in Greensboro, North Carolina.